On Sunday today. Holy hell. Finally don't have any distractions. no one's gonna no one's gonna get in my way and get out of me doing my talk today. So anyway, talk for today is a continuation of yesterday. We were talking about how branding and marketing and things have changed over the years, and kind of what I've seen happening. Again, it's kind of a normie. Like, I don't have a degree in marketing. I'm not into sales like some of my wife does, all that kind of stuff. But I feel it's a good conversation to have with people who are a little less, in the know about these kind of things. And so, coming out from someone who builds everything, who does most of the operations stuff, the selling of furniture has changed significantly in the 8 years, 9 years, whatever it is now that I've been doing this. And it's interesting because I think a lot of people will struggle with moving in the direction that you have to move in order to build a brand, right? To build this, what we call like, know, and trust, which is, the people that buy the products from you know you, right? They have followed you. They have followed your company. They have followed your stories, all these kind of things. And it's more important now than ever. And if you're timid about putting your image out there, if you're timid about talking up your product and being whatever, like an evangelist for the thing is that you sell, I think you'll really struggle to grow your brand and to grow whatever it is you're trying to sell. And so again, talking to someone who's never, like, I'm not into the marketing thing per se, but kind of looking at it from the background. It's an interesting conversation. So anyway, my name is Eric Wilkin. I own the Respondent Car here in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small furniture boutique company. We probably do, I don't know, maybe 500 pieces a year right now. We did closer to 1,500 during COVID, and it's been a good business. It's a lot of work, but it feels good. We have, I want to say about 8 or 9 employees at this point, and we do it's a small 7 figures in revenue, and it leads to, like I said, a good middle class living. And it's not always easy, but but some days it is. And again, most days I work. I'm a very busy guy, and I like to stay busy. But what I'm going to talk about today is how we've brought our home life into our work life. And this is something that, again, I think people could potentially struggle with, because some people don't like to marry the two. People want to leave their home life separate from their business life, and I'm telling you that they have to come together. And it's good and bad. In a good way, you can take your personal life and you can bring it into your business life, which, if you're someone that likes to have nice things at home, it can allow you to have some nice things at home because of the way that you work, because of your business. You can do a lot of write-offs. You can, again, you have to kind of marry the two. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We talk about how marketing your brands and your products and your things have changed. And again, I say this as a business owner who sells furniture, right? We make furniture, we paint furniture, and I feel it's a good conversation. So if you guys are in the stream, hit the like button, add the discussion. Tell me what it is you're trying to do. Tell me what products it is you're trying to sell. Tell me what it is you think that I'm right about, and what you think I'm wrong about, all these kind of things. And like I said, just add the discussion. We'll kick this thing around and see what people think. So anyway, here's what's going on, guys. So what's happened lately is, when we first started the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, there was a lot of taking photographs, right? You take a nice photograph of your piece of furniture that you painted or you built or whatever. You take a picture of that, and you just kind of recycle that system over and over again. You put that thing on Instagram, you put it on Facebook, Pinterest, whatever. Etsy was a big thing. We did a lot of Etsy stores. That was a great way to get traffic. Etsy was a fantastic marketer for their platform, so we didn't have to do nearly as much to get your brand out there, to get your products out there, to the visibility side. So all that's changed. Now these companies don't do jack to get your product out there. They're just literally going with whatever is popular. You can pay to to get more eyeballs on your product, but paying for advertising doesn't work anymore. Like, it just isn't. The ROI on paying for advertising just is not what it used to be. So we got people coming to stream. Appreciate everyone being here. I'll talk to everyone in a minute. Just give me like 5 minutes. We'll go over what I want to talk about, and then we can bat it around a little bit. Anyway, paying for advertising the traditional way doesn't work anymore. So it used to be you could just, pay Google, $1,000 a month, start a couple of ad campaigns, and you get people to click on your stuff. Well, what's happening now is, if you guys have noticed, if you get on Google, just type in whatever product you want. Type in freaking, trying to think of something, like I'm looking over here, like Swiss ball. Like, I got a Swiss ball, and better yet, type in this exercise bike that I have behind me, right? You type in exercise bike, companies like Home Depot will come up, and this is a major problem. because what's happened is you have a lot of these large corporations they've basically captured the advertising clicks, right? So if Home Depot comes up when you type in exercise bike, it's because they pay the most to get the traffic, right? So they'll click on anyone. They just want people to see their name. They want people to see their brand. They want people to potentially click on their product or think like, oh God, I do need to go to Home Depot also while I'm looking for this bike. Like, it's constantly pinging your brain to think about that company. And so anyway, if you're a small business and you have a product, it's virtually impossible to get really high up on the indexing for whatever product it is you sell. You guys will notice that Amazon shows up for everything. Wayfair shows up for everything. Home Depot, Lowe's, just your big corporations, Walmart, all these companies are showing up, and no matter what you sell, no matter what you advertise, these companies are beating you to the punch. They're paying a lot more for those clicks than you can. I've even seen it with, Etsy's a big one. Etsy does First Dibs, Cherish, these kind of companies. They spend a lot of dollars on marketing and advertising, and people are just seeing their they're seeing their links. They're not actually getting the answers they need when they do a query on these websites. So anyway, so that's what's going on. So same thing with, like, if you advertise on, if you do Meta, right? You do Instagram, Facebook, all these kind of sites. What's happening is so basically the way it would work is you would, make a reel on Instagram, and then you can promote that reel, you can boost it, whatever they call it. And then you basically are paying to get clicks, right? To have your reel shown to people or your post shown to people. And truth is that those posts aren't really going out to many people, right? They're not getting much traction. And the people that they are going to aren't really interested in your products. It's just showing it to lots of different people, And the truth is, even if you make a really good reel on Instagram that shows your product, it's not going to all of your followers, which this is something that I don't think a lot of people understand. Instagram wants you to pay, or I should say Meta. Meta owns Instagram and Facebook, but they want you to pay to boost that reel, right? They want you to pay to get it out to people, because they know the businesses are willing to pay for this, because it's how the game works, So it's getting really tricky to do traditional advertising and traditional marketing. That's what we're talking about today. Everything has changed, and what I'm trying to tell you guys in the talk today, which I tried to start yesterday, was that you have to incorporate who you are, right? You have to incorporate your personal life with your business life, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's what we've been doing, and we're seeing a lot of great results with that. And it's not me trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to tell you guys, like, what we're seeing as business owners. And again, not a super educated guy, but we're seeing the stuff, we're getting good traction, visibility. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that we're trying. I'm going to tell you guys how it's working, right? And the kind of things that we're seeing, so we'll say hi to some people in our comments real quick, and then continue this conversation. So in here we got, who's this? Is this Monocell Jane? I don't know what that means. So anyway, don't know what's going on there with your name. You must be from a different country, but glad you're here. I appreciate everyone in the discussion today. And again, we'll continue talking about marketing and advertising and how it's really changed. So anyway, so at the Resplendent Crew, we sell a really beautiful high-end product. We call it a luxury product. We take vintage furniture, we fix it up, we sand it, we high gloss lacquer, and then we deliver it into your home with kind of a white glove type service. And it's been a great business. We've expanded that to where we're making a lot of custom furniture. We do a ton of custom pieces now, and that's turned into another revenue stream for our business, and it's been great. It's a good way just to help kind of deal with the ebbs and flows of sales, right? Another thing we do here is we sell hardware, right? So we sell brass hardware, we design it, we manufacture it in India, and again, that helps to kind of help with the highs and the lows of business, because usually when something like vintage furniture is down, new furniture can be up, or hardware sales can be up, so it just really helps to kind of even things out, which is really what you need as a business. It's very difficult to deal with the massive swings in sales. So if you have really good marketing, you can also help fix this, right? Which, this is the thing, like, you'll have an ad campaign or a marketing strategy that really seems like it's working, and then another month will go by, and then sales will just fall off a cliff, and you'll be like, what the hell happened? And truth is that the algorithms within Google, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and places like Pinterest, it's just changed a lot, so we're constantly trying to figure out what the hell is going on with all these algorithms. And the things that we're finding that are really working well today are making reels that incorporate our personal life into our business life, right? So when you do something like furniture, and I don't know what other people want to sell, but when you do furniture, it's really easy to take furniture from your business and bring it to your home, right? So one of the things that we did is that we bought a really nice home during COVID, and it wasn't like the nicest home at the time, but we really fixed it up. We brought in a lot of our pieces from our business, and we started utilizing our home to sell these pieces of furniture, And so what's happened over time is that we've made a lot of videos about this content. I've done a lot of videos about how I make a lot of the furniture that we've brought into our home that we sell to people. And we've kind of married all this stuff together. So we have something called the ResplendentCrow.com, we have something called the ResplendentHome.com, and we have something called ModernWoodrunner.com. And all of these websites, coupled with all the posting that we do on Instagram, on Facebook, on Pinterest, on Google, all of those things has helped us to become higher in the algorithm because of what's called the like, know, and trust factor, which is something that isn't talked about a lot. Like when I do posts online about like little pieces of furniture that I'm building or things that I fix, what I'm doing is I'm actually pinging all of the individual platforms, right? So I'm pinging Instagram, I'm pinging Facebook, Google, I'm pinging the ResplendentCrow.com, the ResplendentHome.com, ModernWoodrunner.com. I'm pinging all of these sites by making that content. And what happens is over time, Google, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, all of these places have slowly moved all of these sites up the algorithm, right? So when you click, when you do a query for something like faux bamboo furniture, the Resplendent Crow is going to show up. The Resplendent Home is going to show up. And we're not paying for advertising for these things. And what's happened is that over time, it's really helped us to grow our sales, and to stay relevant. Granted, you still have really slow months, and you're really going to have months where you're trying to figure out like what the hell is going on with sales. But when you look at the back end of your metrics, right, and see like where people are coming from, how many hits you're getting, all these kind of things, you'll really start to see that traffic is coming from these queries, like things for faux bamboo furniture, Dorothy Draper furniture, hot pink lacquer dresser, pink dresser, these kind of searches. We've become the I want to say the place to go for that kind of stuff, but we're a lot higher than we would otherwise be. And again, when we were paying for advertising, we were paying just gobs and gobs of money for advertising, and it would lead to sales some months, but other months it would lead to anything, So you'd be spending, say, $5,000 on Instagram ads or Meta ads, and you'd see great traction to your store, but it wouldn't convert into sales, right? And the conversion thing is what you really have to work on if you're going to get people buying your stuff. Because it's great if you get 1 million people coming into your store, right? But if 1 million people come in and only one buys, and it costs you, say, $10,000 in ad dollars, like, what are you doing? Like, it's not going to work, right? So what you have to do is, like I keep talking about, this whole like, know, and trust thing, So what you do is you show people what you're working on in your home. Show your furniture in your home, or if you're like a car guy, show your cars in your garage. Have a nice garage. Really work on that thing, make it look really nice, and then you could use that content. It's got to be interesting, but people will start to kind of follow you, and they'll want to see what you're working on, what you're doing, and it leads to what's called like, know, and trust. And I keep talking about this like, know, and trust thing because it's something that people just don't seem to understand. You don't have to pay for advertising month after month after month after month and then watch no sales come in. Like, you don't have to do that. But what you do have to do is you do have to make content that is kind of interesting to people. You got to make content that is relevant to the thing you sell, and you have to constantly be pinging all of these sources. And then you don't have to be the person getting the top clicks like Home Depot and Lowe's and Amazon and Walmart and all these kind of places, Overstock.com, these places that get the top searches all the time for stuff that isn't even relevant to their products, which is just insane. So we've been doing this stuff now for, I want to say we've been doing stuff for so I've been doing the YouTube thing for like 2 years now, and just putting out shorts, putting out lives, putting out posts. I've been doing videos on how I make all my furniture, right? And so what's happening is, again, the funny thing about it, and this is a kind of a back end thing, guys, but so if you just Google Dorothy Draper spotted chest, okay? So through this Dorothy Draper chest, iconic piece of furniture, right? It's like the Lamborghini Miura of cars. It's people really like it in the furniture space, right? So I built one of these and I did a YouTube video of it. So that video gets tons of hits, right? Whenever you do a query, like do a query for Dorothy Draper spotted chest, I'll come up first. Like, I'm the guy that comes up to show you how to build that thing. I'm the guy that comes up to anything to deal with that particular cabinet. Okay, I don't have the license for that cabinet. A company called Kindle has that license, and I've basically stolen the search result for that piece of furniture because I make it and I do lots of video about it. I talk about it a ton, and you guys can do this with anything. But you have to spend the time. And this is the thing I think gets people in trouble. They don't spend enough time working on this stuff. So I've done videos on how to fix Dorothy Draper cabinets. I've done videos on how to tell a real one from a fake one. I've done videos on how to make them. And this is just one piece of furniture, okay? Now, factor that over years of dozens of pieces of furniture, okay? Again, I've stolen the search results from a lot of different companies, okay? So, fun fact, I actually got sued not sue, I should say sued, but I actually got a letter from the company Kindle, who owns the license, for a cease and desist because they got sick of me putting out the content and selling this particular piece of furniture because they actually own the license, okay? So this is something you can do with anything. You know, you gotta be kind of careful how you do it, but it leads to sales, right? It leads to this like, know, and trust thing, right? You can buy a Kindle Dorothy Draper spotted chest from them, and I don't know what the hell they sell it for. They probably sell it for $5,000, right? You know, you could also buy it from me, right? I think I sold mine for like $4,200. And the truth is that mine's better. Like, mine uses soft close slides. It's high gloss lacquered by a really, high end finish. It's just a superior product. But these companies protect their licenses and they protect their legacy products. These legacy companies, they're not changing the way that they do anything, right? Which is why they're declining. You have to change how you do things in order to get the sales and the eyeballs to come in. And it takes years of people seeing like, oh God, Eric makes this thing. This is really cool. It's not too long before someone says, well, you know what, I really kind of would like to have this, or I know somebody that might want this. Oh, here, you can buy it from this company, or here's this other person that makes it. And I don't know if you guys kind of see how this works, but if you do this long enough, you'll become the name that's associated with these products. You'll become the person that's associated with this kind of stuff. So if you do a Google search for things like faux bamboo furniture, or you get on Instagram, do a hashtag search for faux bamboo furniture, the Resplendic Pro is going to show up, because we've been doing it for so long. We do a really great job. We have an excellent reputation within the community of high gloss lacquered painting that people just kind of know us. The algorithm of Instagram knows us, but it takes time, and you have to constantly be pinging this. And you don't always have to put out the best content, but you do got to put out the content. And this is the thing that these big companies are horrible at, right? They're horrible at I don't know exactly what the term is, but it's basically like it's more like influencer culture, I guess might be a good way to put it. You become like, if you think about Walmart, like there's no person at Walmart that is like the authority on whatever a Walmart product is, right? There's nobody out there. And you could say, well, there's people like you guys ever heard of the Chip and JoJo people, Gaines's or whatever they are? They sell products at different kinds of stores. I don't know if it's Target or Walmart, but even these people no longer have the authority that they used to have because they don't touch people at the ground level anymore. Like they're kind of up here, they're too high. And what's happening is a lot of these brands are moving from these kind of rarefied, the 1% of the 1% is kind of what I would call them. Like these are people that just got, they did something that was really cool. They got really popular and then they kind of went to the stratosphere. But as they went to the stratosphere, they kind of became irrelevant, or less relevant might be a better way to put it. So what people are looking for now is they're looking for like what you might call them like micro influencers, micro brands, things like that. And it's the same thing with like, if you look at things like podcasts, you guys notice everyone used to go to whatever, ABC, NBC, all these different news places for their news. And that's all gone away. Like these people they still get views, but it's basically just old people. There's no, it's a dying industry, right? So what's happened is a lot of these news companies have started buying podcasts, right? A lot of these news companies have started trying to get into this micro influencer kind of situation where you end up with, like, you look at the news today, a lot of people get their news from people like Joe Rogan, or they get their news from, I think Fox News just bought this podcast called the Ruthless Podcast. I think that, I'm trying to think some of the other ones I think off the top of my head. I can't, there's a ton of them, but these large companies are starting to buy these smaller people that actually touch individuals, which is really important. And that's kind of what I'm talking about when it comes to marketing, right? You have to be able to touch people on an individual kind of level, so that so that you can build up this like, know, and trust thing, because it's really important, you know. So anyway, all right, question. What is this? Let's see, what's your name? So my name is Eric Wilkin. I own the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small furniture boutique company, and it's a great business. You go to resplendentcrow.com and see our business, see what it is, see what the kind of furniture we make. We don't try and sell. We're not selling anybody anything other than furniture. It's just a furniture business. But I do these streams just to talk about business from more of like a normie's point of view. Like I said, I didn't graduate high school. I just kind of busted my ass. I moved all over America and slowly figured this thing out, and just kind of took one opportunity here, took another opportunity there, and I took all these opportunities over the course of 25 years, and it kind of got me to where I'm at today, which is where I still work super hard, but I got the things that I've wanted, the things that I've always wanted in my life. I have them, and it wasn't my education that did it. It was just working really hard and taking every single opportunity that was ever given to me. I mean, one time I had to fly to New Zealand for 3 months, you know, to go work on a jet, you know, whether it's, you know, flying out to Atlanta to go work on this project, or flying off to West Palm Beach to go work on that project. Whatever has to be done, I would always volunteer for anything. And slowly over time, those opportunities led me to where I'm at today. And I'm a firm believer in that. Like, you have to volunteer for everything. You have to be willing to do what other people are unwilling to do or can't do. You know, so you have to put yourself in that position. I talk about it from a life of not always chasing impulses, right? And it's hard to say, because I'm actually a super impulsive person. But when it came time to, when it came time to go do drugs and get shit-faced and go out with all the boys and all that kind of stuff, I never did any of that. And I didn't have a big group of friends. I was always the worker. I would always work Monday through Friday, and then when it came time to work overtime on Saturday or Sunday, again, my hand was always going up, you know, because we got paid like lots of overtime in aerospace. And being able to take that extra money, all that overtime money, I've always had really nice houses, you know, at least for what I've made. I've owned some famous houses, but I've had to move a lot, you know, and so I do these streams to tell people that, like, it's okay. It's okay to move around. It's okay to not, you know, go out with the boys and get shit-faced. It's okay to not do the drugs and do the tattoos and, you know, do the illegal things. Like, it will lead to good things, because truth is that had I not done those things and just kind of focused on working hard most of my life, I would have never qualified to go work on Air Force One. I would have never qualified to go work on Air Force Two. I would have never qualified to work on the E-4B programs. Like, Google all that stuff. That's the doomsday planes. These are the planes that hold all the nukes, right? The nuke codes. I would have never qualified to work on all the Saudi Princess planes. And all of this stuff, just it gave me an opportunity to see things and be around things and get the experience and the name to do things that other people just wouldn't be able to do. And you can do it. You don't have to have some kind of crazy education. You don't have to, you know, be born with a silver spoon, any of those kind of things. But it just does take a lot of work, a lot of chasing jobs. And now I'm 46 years old, just turned 46. 46 years old, and I have literally everything that I want, you know. So it's it can be done. And again, you don't have to follow the traditional path, and that's why I do all these streams, just to tell you guys that there are people out there like that. You know, I see a lot of these YouTube streamers, and they're all just pissing and moaning, and they're, you know, oh, life's not fair, and I can't get this, and I didn't get that, and this person screwed me over, and blah, 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 and it's not, people living in their cars and all this kind of stuff, and it doesn't have to be that way, and it is difficult today, for sure, with inflation, things like that, but if you own a business, as the cost of things go up, especially if you sell a luxury good like I do, rich people are always buying. Always. In a recession, they're buying. In boom times, they're buying. They're always buying. So if you serve that customer, you'll always have a business. And plus, you can beat inflation because the price of your products goes up consummate to inflation. You know, so it's a win-win. And again, I say this as someone who doesn't understand economics all that well. I don't understand marketing, sales, and all that kind of stuff. Just work really hard, you know. So anyway, okay, more comments. I see. Okay, all right. So we got the same person in here today. So, okay. So yeah. So these are some of the things that we're seeing. So we're starting to bring our business life into our home life quite a bit more. And truth is like my wife doesn't even come to our business that much anymore. She does most of her work from home now, which is great for her. It's she loves it. But it's leading us into where now. So what traditionally would happen is a lot of businesses would rent a house, right? Or they'd rent a space in a studio. they would take their products into those studios or those homes, and then they would photograph them. So they'd pay for the studio or the house, they'd pay a photographer to come and do some really nice photos, and then they'd pay someone to edit those photos and put them online. And this is how it worked for a very long time, and it worked okay. You know, you'd get your stuff put in magazines. Magazines were a good place to go, things like that. And all that shit's gone. Like, that way of doing marketing, it's more like guerrilla marketing now. What we're doing now is, we used to do some of these things, and what we're doing now is we're taking our products and we're bringing them into our home now. So what we'll do is we'll basically just redo an entire room in our house, which people like to do anyway, right? But because it's for your business, at least in our case it is, it's for your business, you could write off all that shit. Everything is a write-off, which is really nice, because you're essentially creating a marketing tool for your product, right? You're creating a marketing tool for your business. And so we're able to take a lot of this stuff. Morning, son. We're able to take a lot of these products that we already sell in our business, right? We're able to take those products, we're able to bring them here in home. We're able to, because we sell a luxury product, we're able to create a luxury space in order to sell our products, right? So you would take a room that's in your home, like whatever, like we got like, it's got like a man cave room upstairs, bonus room, whatever you want to call it. And we're basically just lining this thing with beautiful wallpapers and, you know, really ornate, expensive chandeliers. And some people look at this kind of stuff and they think, oh, this is a flex. You know, you're flexing, you know, you're showing you got money, you know. And the truth is, like, we don't have a ton of money, but our customer does, right? So we are taking these rooms in our home and we're redesigning them. We're, you know, putting arches in them. We're putting really nice wallpaper, chandeliers, flooring, all these kind of things that, again, someone like myself does as a fabricator and as a maker of things. So someone's always worked with their hands. Doing all this stuff, we're writing every bit of it off, right? We're partnering with people, and then we're bringing those products into our home, and we're trading those products for advertising, right? So we're already like taking, you know, my wife's got these blinds in this room, and again, you guys can go to theresplendentcrow.com and see some of the stuff. You go to Resplendent Crow on Instagram, you'll see her talking about all these kind of things. But anyway, so we're redoing these rooms anyway, right? Which is all a write-off. We can then take things like these blinds, right? These companies will give us these blinds. We'll in turn give them content for them, right? So this is all above board with the IRS and business, and this is how it's supposed to work. We'll make individual pieces of furniture specifically for these rooms, right? Again, it's all a write-off. Every bit of it is a write-off. It's fantastic. It works out great. And we get something nicer for our home. It elevates the value of our home. It elevates our brand. And it works on this like, know, and trust thing that I'm always telling you guys. So the people that follow the Resplendent Crow love the storage, right? They love seeing the beautiful wallpaper. They love seeing the beautiful chandeliers. They love seeing the beautiful lighting, the views of the river, all these kind of things, because it's who our customer is, right? These are the homes of our customers. They see really nice linens and I don't even know what half this shit's called, to be quite honest with you guys. These drapes and paints and you know, stuff that our customers are into that my wife kind of knows about. I have no idea about any of this shit. I just install it, I make it, I paint it, I do the floors, I do whatever has to be done, because it's building this brand. This is the Resplendent Crow brand. And this is stuff that I'm always trying to tell people about. Like, it's not the old way of doing marketing. It's not the old way of building a company, building a brand. It's very different. And again, I would have never known this stuff, but because I'm around my wife and I have to deal with this shit every day, I have a very good understanding of the direction that we're going and how it's affecting our business, right? So if you just sum all this up, like, so I'm talking about all these things, you know, the different kinds of, the way that we used to advertise, the way that we're advertising now, the different kinds of marketing gimmicks, the different kinds of platforms where we try and sell, all these kind of things. So all it really boils down to is, like, how is this affecting sales, right? How is this, you know, are we getting more customers, all this kind of stuff? And the truth is that I don't know that we're getting more customers, but what I know is absolutely happening is that we're getting higher conversions, right? So it used to be, we'd look at our like Shopify. We have a Shopify store. TheResplendentCrow.com is a Shopify store. We look at our metrics and you might see whatever, 10,000 people a month come in the shop, you know, but if your conversion rate is only whatever, 2%, you know, that's not a very high transaction rate, you know. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to convert more people into a sale. And when you have all of these stories, all of this content around your products and your lifestyle, more people are dialed in, you know. And this is the thing that's really freaking important. People want to buy products from people that they like. and there's a lot less products now that people just buy like without thinking about it. Like people buy Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they don't really think about it. They've just been around forever. There's no other brands, right? But if you could find a soda brand that had a great story that was constantly putting out content about soda, you'd be more apt to buy that stuff, right? Because you know who that person is. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that a lot more people are asking questions about our products. A lot more people are engaging with the content. And a lot more people are, that's what I'm looking for, are being pinged by the content, right? They're being pinged by what we're doing, right? Which causes them to go to their resplendentgrow.com, causes them to go to their resplendenthome.com, causes them to go to modernwoodrunner.com and look at more stuff. And it kind of keeps them in this, like, it's not really a funnel, but it's more like the resplendent universe is kind of what I like to think of it as. It's just, people are just constantly inundated with the kinds of content because there's all kinds of it. Like if you want to know about, really, really high-end furniture, you can go to that. You want to see how it's painted, you can see that. You want to see how it's built, you can see that. You want to see the home where the owners live and how they use their products, you can see that. I mean, it's just all that content is there. And what I was talking about at the very beginning of the cast is it's very difficult to separate your personal life from your business life now. It's very difficult to be a faceless, kind of nameless brand anymore. So you have to kind of bring people into your world if you want to keep them there. And again, you used to do that with advertising. You used to do that, putting your ads in yellow pages. You used to do that with getting your stuff in magazines. You used to do that stuff with like Instagram posts, Facebook posts, Pinterest posts, all this kind of stuff. And some elements of that work, but it's not enough anymore. Like you have to do all of it. And when you do all of it, but the most important thing for us is literally bringing people into the home. Like you do that and people are hooked. Like I don't know why that is. Like I'm not 100% sure why, but people like the content around the people that sell the products that they really care about. And it's a big thing. It's going to become more and more popular, I think. And again, the only analogy that I can really use is I like to use the podcast analogy. Like people used to get their news from, again, you'd wait till 5 o'clock for the news to show up every day. And now people don't want to do that, and a lot of people don't even like the news that is on the news. There's, people think that news is biased this way or it's biased that way. So people go to the news that they want to hear, which is really the truth about it, if you're being completely honest. But it's the same thing with content, right? Like you could buy furniture from anybody. There's a million people that sell furniture. I mean, the barrier to entry on furniture is fairly low, to be quite honest with you. But you're going to buy furniture from the people that you like. And you're going to buy furniture from the people that sell the kind of products that you think are really interesting. And the truth is that you can kind of do some mental ninja stuff on people if you can convince them that they like you as a person, that they like your aesthetic, right? They like your home, they like anything about you. You can kind of jujitsu them into liking your products as well. It's not anything new. I mean, it's a concept as old as time, but that's how it works, So I hope this is kind of helpful. Like I said, I know it's a little bit of a rant about how advertising marketing has changed over the years for us and what we're doing now. Like I said, I like to be real transparent about it because, again, I'm not a marketing and advertising expert, but I understand how this stuff works. I've learned a lot over the years about what it takes to get people to notice you, and the idea that you can just spend a ton of money to get people to notice you isn't working, right? And the examples that I used were Google. Like you can Google anything. Like I got an exercise bike over. If I Google exercise bike, Home Depot is going to show up in the search results. That's a problem, So again, but if you search Dorothy Draper spa on the chest, I'm going to show up. And I don't even sell the thing. I don't have the license for it, but I've made enough content about it and I've talked enough about it over the years because it's one of my favorite pieces of furniture that I get more traffic and comments and information about that piece of furniture than the people that make it, right? The legacy company that owns the license. And this is the thing, these legacy companies haven't figured this out yet. They don't understand how content creation, how you get people's eyeballs in on your products. They haven't figured it out. If they haven't figured it out, if they don't want to figure it out, I don't know exactly, but I know the thing is working for us, So yeah, okay. All right, so let's hear what you got to say, man. Okay, glad you're here today. Sorry, I'm doing an early stream today, son. Like I tried to do a stream yesterday, and every time I tried to stream yesterday, I just couldn't sit down to do it. Or I would start and I'd have to stop. One time I did get to start, had to freaking pull it and go do something else. So anyway, I got time this morning, so I'm jumping on. Okay, so all right. Sun says, how does a B-roll of your furniture finish hosting free on YouTube or TikTok or Insta compare to paid ads in terms of how much eyes? And that's exactly what I'm talking about, Sun. So the thing about it is that the ads, everything kind of works in conjunction, and then no one thing on its own is better than the whole package, right? So what we used to do, like I was saying, is we used to spend a lot of money on advertising. I mean, there were months, I think there was one month during like the end of COVID, I think we spent like 20 grand on advertising, like just like the most money we'd ever spend. And it led to almost nothing. And the problem with that is because you'll get lots of eyeballs, but the eyeballs that you're getting aren't qualified buyers, right? These aren't people that actually have the money to buy your shit. And this is the thing that I think people kind of struggle with. So, and again, I was using the analogy here of this bicycle, right? If you look at this is a Nordic Track bike behind me. If you do a search for that, Home Depot is going to show up. Amazon's going to show up. Like all these people that are just paying for clicks are going to show up because they always want you seeing their name. They want their name to be the only thing you think about with anything. And that doesn't work when you're a small business that has limited funds, right? Like we can't spend millions and millions of dollars a month on advertising. That just doesn't work. It's not possible. So we spend, we probably spend $5 grand a month on advertising throughout various platforms. But it's that coupled with the content about how we make our furniture, right? The content with how we fix furniture, the content about our home, and when we bring the furniture into our home, redoing rooms in our home that's related to our furniture, right? The blogs that we have, the resplendenthome.com, the blogs that we have about the furniture that we advertise about, the furniture that we make content about, the furniture that we show people us building, all those kind of things, they work in conjunction together, and it's they work, like, I guess synergistically would be the best way to, they all work together. But you have to do them all together. And the thing that I think people miss more than anything is the last part of that equation is time. It takes time for Google's algorithm to pick up the fact that the Resplendent Home, the Resplendent Crow, and the Modern Woodrunner are all the same entity, and that all of our Instagram pages are all linked together. All of our Facebook pages are all linked together. YouTube's all linked together. TikTok's linked together. Pinterest, it's all linked together. It takes a long time for that stuff to work synergistically, but when it does, you end up indexing higher on the search. Like, you're not going to beat the paid results, but you're going to be in the top, whatever the top of the page when it comes to the actual results. Like, if you scroll down on Google, and it's gotten worse over the years, but if you scroll down to Google, you'll actually see what you're searching for. But the first thing that shows up is always gobs of paid advertising, right? Which you'll never beat these companies when it comes to advertising. So, Son, I hope that answers your question. It's even things like viral posts. People talk about, all you gotta do is go viral, go viral. Going viral is great, and when we've had posts that have done really well, but you can't scale based on virality. Like, that doesn't work when you make a physical product, right? If you make a digital product or you talk for a living, virality could probably be really helpful. But at the end of the day, you have to be viral to the people that will buy your product. So if the people that buy my product are white women age 50 and up with a yearly income of $500,000, and I have a post that goes viral, how many of those people are going to see that post? Because truth is that it's going to be a bunch of 20-somethings, a bunch of teenagers, a bunch of 30-somethings, and 40-somethings, and 50-somethings, and there'll be a broad swath of people that'll see it. But all I really care about are the qualified people, because I make a physical product, right? No teenager is going to spend $5,000 on a credenza, right? No 20-something living in New York working, as a copy editor making 70 grand a year is going to buy my product, right? So if I go viral, I want to go viral at the super expensive shopping mall. Like, I want to go viral at the Chanel store. Like, I want to go viral where my clients are, potential clients are. So, Son, I hope that helps. Like, it's very tricky, but you get all these things, they have to kind of work together, and you have to be working on all the platforms, And one of the things that I think is really helpful that I didn't really talk about too much is, because the Resplendent Crow is a business, I think that Google knows that it's a business, right? But the Resplendent Home is not. The Resplendent Home is a blog, which just happens to link to the business. The Modern Woodrunner technically isn't really a business, even though we do. I guess technically it is. I do sell stuff on there, but Google has just picked up that all these things are kind of linked together, and it makes all the difference. So anyway, Son, sorry, I know it's a long answer. Okay, so you can get people to attach the idea of owning something special, especially if it's to show off to others. I think it's the highest tier you can. Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly right. And the truth is that it's very difficult to convince people of what's special. Right? Like everybody's idea of what's special is so different. But you have to satiate. You have to create lust. I've talked about it. I mean, I've talked about it since I started doing any of these streams. Like lust is the most important thing there is. My wife taught me this. Like men, we lust after women. We lust after cars. Men have a kind of a very narrow band of things that they would sell their soul to get, right? Women, it's much bigger. and I shouldn't say sell your soul. Sell your soul is probably a little carried away. But women like anything that's shiny, right? Women like anything that's luxurious. Guys don't always like things that are luxurious. We're very particular about things that we spend money on, I think. Which is another reason to sell to women, because they just love everything. At least that's how I've seen it. But yeah, if you can, and this is why I'm talking to you guys about showing off your stuff, right? So if you're a home decor business, right, you sell something like I do furniture, but it's in the luxury space, you have to show your furniture in a luxury environment. And the truth is that when you put your furniture in other people's homes are beautiful. But they're generally not very good at photographing or doing video of their homes. And their homes, while they might be good to them, aren't necessarily good to a huge audience, right? And a lot of customers, they don't want you showing off their homes. They don't want you to use pictures of their stuff. So it makes sense to bring all of that into your home. And a home like ours, we got a massive house. We can redo rooms in this house for the next, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years, and just keep making it super nice, bringing our furniture into every room, redoing everything, and our customers love that content. They just absolutely love it. It keeps those eyeballs coming back every day. What are they working on today? What's going into the house today? What kind of products are they going to put in their feed today? Like what's going on? What's Suchetta wearing today? What's Eric, screwing up today? What's Eric building today? These kind of things. It creates a lifestyle. It creates an image. It creates just whatever you want. It creates a lust for these things. And if you can create lust, you'll sell people all day long. But it's very difficult to do. And I've seen it a lot in my years selling furniture. I've had people walk into our shop and say they've waited years to buy a piece of our furniture. I've seen people cry. I've just like anything you could possibly think. I've seen it all. I've had people fly in from New York just to come in and look at furniture. It's interesting. And when people are willing to do that, you have something that's really special. But there's the story component that, again, I don't think people quite understand that. And it's kind of the newest thing that I'm kind of learning about that's really helping convert people. Not necessarily drawing more sales, but convert more people to become buyers, which is really cool. So, okay. All right, what else is Sun saying? So, Sun, I hope that answers your question. I know it's like I said, I wish I could get my wife down here to do these talks to me. She is so much better at explaining this stuff than I am. But it is what it is. Like, so I do these streams. Like, I'm just a normal dude. Like I said, I tell people all the time, like, I never even graduated high school. Like, you don't have to be super intelligent and do everything right. Like I said, I had to move all over America. Like I said, I didn't do the school thing. I wasn't interested, but I volunteered for everything. When it came time to do the stuff that most people weren't able to do, I would find a way to get it done. I would volunteer my time. I would just do whatever I had to do to win. And it's not always education. It's not always money. It's not always any of these things. Opportunities. What's that? Was it Mark Twain that said, "The harder I work, the luckier I get"? These kind of things. That's what I'm talking about. Like when you're willing to volunteer for everything, when you're not calling in on Monday because you got fucked up over the weekend, when you're not, failing drug tests, when you're not, all tatted out, when you don't talk like a troglodyte, whatever word you want to use, these open up opportunities for you, and you can do other things, and you just don't know where it's going to lead. But if you don't like pass on the drinking, on the drugs, on the funness all the time, and don't remember that, Monday through Friday, it's balls to the wall, and volunteer for Saturday. Every Saturday, you volunteer to go to work if needed. You don't do those things, and you're not super smart. You don't have, connections or any of these kind of things. You're not in the right place at the right time. Those opportunities aren't going to show up. And that's just kind of how I see it. Okay, let's see. in Counter-Strike, there are weapon skins, so like different colors. Okay, and there are also stickers for your digital weapons. A sticker can go for $100,000. People are nuts about it. Yeah, and that's 100% right. You know, I was just talking to my wife this morning. I was saying, like, is there a product that we could put in our furniture that just makes it kind of special, you know? And she was saying that that's not really like a woman thing. Like men love things like water bottles and coasters and pens and all this little kind of superfluous shit. But women want something a little bit like more special, you know? So that was kind of my idea, is like so the example I like to use is, so if you know anything about the company Chanel, they're a fashion brand. They were selling water bottles for like $300, and I saw that, and I'm just like, what in the fuck is going on? Like, who would pay so, like, that's just, it was like almost offensive to see someone charge that much for a water bottle, and it might have even been like $700. Like, it was some insane amount of money, and my wife's like, oh yeah, those are all sold out. And I was like, what? And that's the power of branding. Like, that's the thing that we're trying to create, that my wife is trying to create, that I'm trying to create. Like, I want, and I've talked about this many times, like, I want people to say, yeah, I want Eric to build me a piece of furniture. Normally it would be like $5,000. I want people that are willing to pay me $25,000 to make this thing, you know, because it's made by me, right? I want people paying $10,000 for a credenza because it's a resplendent crow. Right, it's one thing. You go buy a credenza on Amazon for $500, you know, or you could buy a resplendent crow for $10,000, and that's what we're doing, you know. And over the years, again, we've built up this cachet of affluence is the word I want to use. Like, it's not. Again, I'm horrible at talking about this kind of stuff because I didn't come from any of this. I don't quite understand how these people live per se, but these are my customers, right? These are the people. One of the reasons that my wife always looks so nice, dresses so well, and cares really a lot about her appearance is because these are her customers. This is the image that you have to put out there. This is the thing that you have to do. Having a nice home, driving a nice car, these kind of things that I think a lot of us, people, especially people like me, like, we would kind of talk shit on a little bit, to be quite honest with you. It's turned into something where it's like, no, this is how you have to live. And it's not balling. It's not like some of the other words, flexing, like, seems to be the popular word these days. It's not any of that. It's showing your customers what they want to see, right? Like, our customers, the people that are going to spend $10,000 on a credenza don't want to see your cheap ass apartment. They don't want to hear about your fucking minimalism. They don't want to hear how you saved so much money, you know, by buying in bulk. Like, they're not interested in that stuff. And that's a very difficult thing to get across to people, because a lot of people, they want the life, but they don't make the money, right? When you sell a product and you have a company that caters to that life, you can live that way, and it's okay. It's very, and I don't know if this makes sense. Like, it's very difficult for me to talk about this kind of stuff because it's not really my thing. Like, I like nice shit, but the kind of stuff that I like, my customers don't like. Like, I come from a life where I used to work on a lot of private jets. I've been to these places, I've been to these homes, I've been to these hangars, I've been to these places where a lot of these wealthy, affluent people operate, but I'm not one of those people. The only thing that I like in this world that is even relevant to any of this stuff is cars. Like, I'm a massive fan of cars. I love McLarens. I love Audis. This is my world. I love this kind of stuff, but my customers don't care about that kind of stuff. And this is funny. Sorry, son. I'm gonna go on side tangent here real quick. I always hear people. I can get a lot of people in my feed. They talk about how rich people don't operate this way, right? Rich people, they save money, and rich people are they're unassuming, right? They don't wear fancy clothes, they don't wear fancy this, and they don't drive nice cars. And I hear people say this kind of stuff, and I see these posts, and I just, like, I laugh because this is actually my world. Like, I always tell people, like, I've never seen somebody show up in a Toyota. Like, my customers, they don't fly commercial. They don't, they always have Land Rovers, and they always have Mercedes-Benz, and the tropes and the cliches that people put out about wealthy people, like, they're all true. When I worked in private jets, I've never seen someone show up to their private jet in a Toyota. Like, it just doesn't happen. There's no Kias. So when these people like to, put these posts on X and TikTok and all this kind of stuff of how cheap wealthy people are. Like people love to talk about. I use this analogy, but people like to talk about Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett, super rich, wealthy investor. You know, he owns the same house for 40 years. And I just laugh because like the guy owns NetJets, you know, like he literally owns a private jet company. Like he owns Berkshire Hathaway Investments, which is a business that literally just buys property. Like people just they want to believe what they want to believe. They don't really understand how wealth really works and how wealthy people really operate. And it's, I just laugh, you know, like these people, wealthy people love wealthy shit. And this is why we have a business. When you see people show up and they've got, you know, very rarely do you see someone show up with a Casio watch on their wrist, like, and you know, the women aren't wearing, you know, cheap clothes and you know, they're not wearing Lululemon pants and freaking, you know, whatever, carrying a backpack. Like it just doesn't work like that. Like these people, they dress really well and they have really nice clothes and really nice cars and really nice houses. Like, I mean, some of the houses I've been to, guys, like you can't even imagine. These places are like compounds. Like people live in houses that are the size of malls. Like it's really wild. And again, like it's just, I do these streams, like I said, as a normie dude who just sells a really high-end product, and I'm trying to elevate that product, right? Like my average customer might have a $500,000 income. I'm trying to sell people that have $1 million income, and then a $2 billion income, and so on and so forth. And that's what it is, you know. And again, it's just normie dude. So I said, sorry, I went on a rant there, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I can't figure out why someone would pay, you know, $10,000 to have their AK-47 in Counter-Strike have a, you know, a specific sticker on it. But it works. It's the Supreme thing, right? I mean, everyone, I think at this point knows the company Supreme. You know, people want to see Supreme T-shirts selling for $1,000. It makes no sense, you know. But if you can create excitement and enthusiasm and passion and ultimately lust for a brand, you can charge whatever you want. And it's very difficult to do. You know, sometimes people just catch, you know, it's what do they call it, bottled lightning. You know, some people get that kind of stuff, but most people, it takes a long time to build that up. It takes a long time to get enough people to lust after your product for enough time to create that, you know. So, okay, so Sun says, okay, what about trying pet products or music? I know there's a price multiplier with that stuff. People love their thing, so they'll open their wallet for it. Yeah, there's, let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just, it's very, I don't know about music per se, and pet products. I think there's a ceiling to everything, you know. And it's funny that you say pet products. So I've done a couple of jets. So I've done a couple of jets where we've built custom pet carriers, which is kind of interesting. The pet carriers are made out of what's called Nomex honey sandwich panels. And these are very expensive. Think about like a piece of plywood. Like a piece of plywood you go down to Home Depot is like $50. Nomex sandwich panels are about $1,500 a piece. They're super lightweight, but we would build these things. So this would be like a $10,000, you know, dog carrier that they'd put on their G5. You know? So I've done a few of those. These people will pay anything for what it is that they want. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's, like I said, music, pet products, whatever. But I mean, I don't know much about the pet. I'm not a pet guy. You know, I said I've always liked animals, but my life is work. Like I got my wife and I got work, and that's basically it. I don't do pets because it takes time away from the thing that I'm always working on, which is my business. You know, so but yeah, it's like I said, wealthy people will pay anything, but you got to create the demand. You got to get the visibility out there, and you have to create that lust for something. Like it's really important. And the way that we're doing that today is to create a lust-worthy home and then putting our products in that home. Selling access to our really nice home to people's products through collaborations and things like that. And this is where marketing and branding is going, unfortunately. The old way of doing it no longer works, you know. So that's what we're doing. You know, so that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, I hope this is good content for people. I think we're at about an hour. It's good content, again, from a normie, someone who, I said, just, I don't have a degree in anything, but just a degree in working hard. But I get to watch my wife do these kind of things, and I'm learning from her, and I get to interact with these wealthy people, and so I see what they want. I see the kind of things that they're interested in. I see the kind of content that they consume, and I see the back end on a website, so I understand what people are looking for, where they're coming from, how they got to us, and ultimately what I need to do to get them, more of those people to come here and to convert. So that's what we're talking about today. I think it's probably good for today. It's about an hour. So I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. It's Sunday, so relax, have a beer, and everyone, I will chat with y'all on Monday. So thanks for being here. Bye.